I call this Town of Adams Board of Selectmen's meeting to order Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. This meeting is being recorded, and these meetings are recorded and televised live on Northern Berkshire Community Television, channel 1303. Anyone who wishes to tape the meeting, please inform the chair. You can do that, just need to inform the chair. We have iBerkshires. Okay, and that's it. Okay, would everyone please stand and join the Board of Selectmen in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from October 22nd, 2024. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as submitted for Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ann, any discussion?
Yes, I have some discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
At the beginning, I know it's an executive session, but what I'm going to say has nothing to do with the context of it. I asked why. The first thing that came from Chairman Duval was that this executive session will not be taped. And I asked a couple of times, why not? I think it's very important that something, what we were discussing, should be on tape. I never got an answer. And so that was the first thing. And then when we move on to, let's see what page it is. Should have put my glasses on, but I'll find it. Okay, 1 minute. Bear with me. Okay, on page 3, at the bottom bullet point where it starts with Vice Chairman Hoyt made a motion, and within the last sentence or so, there's something here that said, Town Administrator Green and Vice Chair Hoyt took exception with the tone of Member Novak's suggestion, and my suggestion was about an audit. I want that stricken from the record, that you didn't like my tone. I don't believe I raised my voice, but we'll never know because we don't have a tape of that either, because it was an off cycle. It was a Tuesday, and Northern Berkshire Television couldn't make it because they have to tape the North Adams City Council. So that's what I'm asking.
So it wasn't taped. We haven't taped any of our executive sessions as far as I can remember. So it was an executive session. I didn't have a tape recorder with me, but if that's what the board wants to do, I'm not sure we can do it, but that would be up to the board.
Mr.
Yes?
Chairman, Attorney Higgins was present and answered Mr. Novak's question that it is illegal to tape an executive session.
Thank you.
He did answer your question at the time.
Thank you.
It's illegal to tape an executive session?
An executive session, that is correct. You cannot record executive sessions. That is what he stated.
Yeah. Stated quite a few things that I wasn't really fond of. Okay, that's all.
Okay. What is the board's pleasure on the request to strike out?
I will not be amending my motion to include that.
Okay.
That is actually, Mr. Novak's insinuations and accusations were such that Administrator Green and myself did tell him at the time that we took exception with the accusations.
Very well.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. We have 3 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, next is public comment. Does anyone in the audience have any questions, comments in regards to this evening's agenda? Please come up, state your name and your address or your affiliation. Okay, everybody's good? All right, next is new business. I'd like to request to the board, I think the warrant discussion is going to take a while. So we do have a presentation, items B and C of new business to from BRPC to discuss the Northern Berkshire HEAL Coalition and to approve an intermunicipal agreement in regards to opioid abatement collaborative, so I'd like to ask the board for a motion to adjust the agenda to move that up.
So moved.
Motion by Christine, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ann. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Okay. So right now it's the item B, presentation overview of Northern Berkshire Heel Coalition. Andy Addison from BRPC.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. Again, my name is Andy Addison. I'm from Brookshire Regional Planning Commission, Senior Public Health Planner with the Brookshire Overdose and Addiction Prevention Collaborative, BOPSI. I'm joined by our Public Health Manager, Laura Kitt-Ross, also from BRPC. Again, my understanding is you've had an opportunity to review the slides that were prepared as well as the attachments. So kind of open up if you did have especially kind of some questions related to the proposal to pool Northern Berkshire opioid settlement funds from the state together into an intermunicipal agreement in collaboration with the other participating municipalities, focusing on pooled collective efforts to be able to reduce the impact of overdoses and prevent them moving forward.
I just wanted to give just a little bit of a history to begin with, so those at home can understanding, because we have the slides, and I was wondering if you could do that.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief.
That's okay.
Yep, absolutely. So it's actually began from efforts in North Berkshire County that originally began with the prescription heroin group that then transitioned into a national study called the Healing Community Study. This is a nationwide study of which North Adams is kind of the anchor city of all the Northern Berkshire municipalities, as well as the city of Pittsfield took part. That project ran from summer of 2022 and ended in December 31st of last year, with a specific focus on promoting harm reduction, medication for opioid use disorder, as well as safer pain management techniques. After the Healing Community Study and the associated funding ended in December 31st, in December of last year, there's been a group of volunteers who've been working to keep the coalition and its efforts running. Again, this is folks cross-center. We have folks coming in from Breen Center, Berkshire Health Systems, law enforcement, local government, Williams College, a lot of individual community members alike. So we're looking at bringing together cross-sector partners, doing anything and everything that we can in order to reduce the impacts. So we're looking at this intermunicipal agreement. It's a two-step process. The first step is the participating municipalities would sign the IMA in order to combine funds together. In the draft that we sent out to the municipalities last week, this IMA would be for the duration of the municipal allocations of the opioid manufacturer settlement funds, which run through 2038. Once this IMA is formed, I would sign a memo of agreement. There's a lot of acronyms on this. With Berkshire Health Systems, with the opening of North Adams Regional Hospital, they have community impact funds that they're willing to dedicate to this effort as well. From there, we would once both the IMA and the MOA are both signed, we would move forward with hiring a North County Community Coordinator. We included the job position description. Especially going to be focusing on kind of completing an assessment of what some of the key gaps and opportunities are in North County. Again, not only focusing on harm reduction and treatment and safer pain management, but especially focusing on recovery, especially focusing on mental health support, and especially focusing on prevention, especially working with Northern Berkshire Community Coalition on the youth prevention front. From there, once this person has been able to work with the community to assess what some of the gaps are, it's working on doing anything and everything that can be done in order to help address those gaps. That can be smaller things, increasing naloxone distribution boxes, increasing field outreach, can especially be looking at much larger things, especially with the pronounced need for permanent supportive recovery housing in the area. So again, the person will be focusing on anything and everything that we can do. Be starting out with a 5-year initiative, but we're hoping that over that course of 5 years, we'll be able to work with this person in order to secure additional funding to be able to extend and expand that well beyond the opioid manufacturer settlements.
Could you just, so we have this Excel chart here, matrix of all the communities and the amount of funds that were received. Could you just go over it's federal funding, I believe that.
The funding is all through the state.
State funding, okay.
Correct, no federal funding involved with this.
So it's a state funding, and each community receives an amount, right? So if we went on our own, the town of Adams received, what was the amount? I don't want to say it wrong, but a total of over 5 years, $18,095.68.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, so it's very low. So
Correct.
partly the reason that this is happening is because, as you've stated, is to pool all of the communities together and the resources from the state grant together to be able to have someone, an individual, be able to work these funds and work the communities.
Right, yeah, we've been in conversations, especially with some of the other more rural counties. So it's a much deeper issue, but especially the way that, as the lawsuits were progressing, the way that the municipal allocations were determined. It was a strange formula, but we're finding that, especially in the more rural areas, the funding allocations were woefully low. So there are efforts underway to hopefully be able to increase these. Particularly, the two towns that especially have jumped out at us countywide that have received shockingly low funds, Great Barrington and especially Adams. When we go by ratios of fatal overdoses, Adams unfortunately tends to be about the third highest. Unfortunately, received among the lowest of the allocations. So we're viewing this as an opportunity for Adams to be able to pool not only with the other municipalities, but Berkshire Health Systems to be able to put those funds to much broader impact. There's especially opportunities through this opioid abatement collaborative that would be formed through the IMA to be able to pursue additional funding through the statewide portion of the funds that are received. So by pulling the funds together, we hope that we can do as much as we possibly can in order to help rectify the inequity in how these funding allocations are made in the first place, while also seeing what else we can do, especially through future settlement funds, to increase not only what Adams is receiving from the settlements, but the other smaller municipalities as well.
Okay, open up to the board. Christine?
So if we stick with the spreadsheet that we have here, so again, it was a settlement money, essentially, that it has been funneled to all of the municipalities. And I'm seeing at the top of the list here that BHS would be eligible for some funding starting in fiscal '25. Is that with a pool of money from the municipalities?
The top portion of funds is what they will be contributing.
That's
So
what
the
they're
top portion, right now, they've committed to about $128,000 that they'll be committing to this.
Okay.
Darlene Rodowitz believes that they will ultimately be able to go up to $250,000. They just need to do more work on their side, hence why especially 28 and 29 are currently left blank. They believe it is very likely they will be able to contribute significantly more fundings, but all of those funds are added on to the municipal allocations below. These are also only the current settlements. I believe there's also been an additional settlement with McKinsey. I haven't heard the official notification. Purdue is still pending. As I'm sure you saw over the summer, the Supreme Court rejected the initial settlement, but as that moved forward, McKinsey, Purdue, other potential settlements would be additional amounts on top of this.
And then you stated a statistic that was actually shocking to hear, that Adams has the third most overdoses in Berkshire County. Are you able to elaborate if those are overdoses and individuals that have been able to be saved, or are they overdose fatalities?
General fatalities, and again, this is looking at ratios. We tend to look at the number of overdoses per 100,000. So especially as we have, on the one hand, a smaller population, those numbers can appear higher. That said, especially one or two fatalities here in Adams are much more impactful. Again, not to denigrate the impact that fatalities in Pittsfield or at North Adams or Boston or Springfield have, but the impact is felt more broadly. Again, it varies from year to year, but when we do look at the ratios, we do tend to see a very strong need, unfortunately, here in Adams. So this has been an area that has been a focus of ours for many years. And again, we are grateful for all of your continued efforts and support, especially as been able to introduce naloxone distribution boxes in the area through Berkshire Harm Reduction.
So we could maybe look at the correlation between, if the formula is such that it's based on population and a number of overdose deaths, we could actually look at the correlation that we are the third largest community in Berkshire County and therefore would have the third most overdoses. I mean, like, you might be able to make that leap, given what you just said about how many people per thousand
Right.
and so forth. Okay.
Right, yeah. At the statewide level, during the settlements, they also incorporated trafficking data, arrest data, especially why Lennox and Lee tended to receive higher funds. That's more connected to the fact that they're near the freeway. There's also, especially some of the motels in northern Lennox tend to be hot spots, unfortunately. So that's part of the formula. Another part of the formula that we're working to learn more information about also included the number of municipalities that are on the town's payroll in the schools. So towns that have an elementary school, for example, or various high schools, because they have more school nurses, school adjustment counselors on their payroll, received more, whereas municipalities that are part of regional school districts, because that doesn't technically appear on the individual salaries don't appear on the town books, they received less, which, if that sounds like the opposite of how it should be, we agree.
Okay. And then I had one follow-up question. So in our meeting materials, we had the slide deck, we had the projected budget, and we had information about the collaborative as well as the job description, but I didn't see the intermunicipal agreement.
We had just completed the draft, then I got our internal approvals. I've been working with legal counsel on that, so we sent that out on Friday morning, so we can resend that to you as well.
Okay. Just because I know it's on our agenda to approve, and I'm going to actually ask that we table that, because unless anybody else has seen the agreement, I didn't see it in my materials, and I'm hoping that doesn't screw anything up with timing or whatever, but, okay.
Completely fine.
I had lots of information except for that actual agreement, so, okay. Thanks.
And who was it sent to in
Sent to, I'd have to double check the mailing list. It was sent to Jay, I believe John was
Yeah, I
on
can
that
take a
as
look.
well. Yeah.
There was about 5 attachments, I think, in the email, so,
We may have just missed one.
yeah, so we'll have that on our next agenda, next
Perfect.
meeting
Yeah,
agenda.
yeah, and that was on a separate thread from the
Yeah.
ones that I sent the attachments to, so my apologies for that.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
All right, Ann?
I have no questions. She's pretty good at asking what I'm thinking.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
It
fine.
happens a lot.
No problem. You've been doing this longer.
Joe?
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you very much for this effort. It's truly needed. And I'm glad that this is being televised so that people in this community realize that drugs are a problem, and they don't affect just the people that are using the drugs. It protects everybody in their family network, including friends. And one thing that is sorely needed in this area is more beds, places where these people can go, get the services they need, instead of a short-term stay released out, and once again, they get into the back with their peers or people that, have began the trek together. And another thing that affects our community is the poverty rate. People in poverty tend to try to get it out of themselves by alcohol, drugs, and that type of happenings. And I don't know how you really can stop this. As years ago it was, don't start, that was don't smoke pot, I remember that as the mantra. I think it might have been Ronald Reagan. But you have to somehow catch the people early on and find a way that they won't do it, because within Adams, we have a transient population. And a lot of the people because I substitute teach and I'm around the kids a lot. And a lot of these kids are being raised by their grandparents. A lot of the children come from broken families. So the family network is an important attribute to the beginning of drug use. And I know for a fact that a lot of kids go home and they're sent up to their room to play their video games. And the nurturing and the understanding of something has to be embedded into a child at a very young age. And I don't know how it can be done, and I'm not going to prolong the conversation. I did not have a chance to see this because I just received it, but when I saw the title, I certainly have no objection to what you're trying to do. It's sorely needed, and I can only wish you good luck, because, as I always say, the proof's in the pudding. Words are easy, but results are hard.
Very much so.
Yeah, so thank you very much for what you're attempting to do, and I hope you have the utmost success. But once again, I was happy that people out there know that this is happening in Adams, and if they know anybody that they feel close to or obliged to, come to see the police or someone to let them know that this is happening, because if they shelter them, it does no good. So thank you once again for all you do.
Yeah, no, thank you, and we agree 1,000% with everything you're saying. Again, especially on the youth prevention front, there's recently saw a report that came out of the summer from earlier this year. It's especially showing that, especially for younger adults in the 18 to 25 category, alcohol misuse is plummeting. Meanwhile, especially among especially among Gen X and especially the boomers, we're continuing to see misuse and addiction rates increase. A lot of what the research is attributing it to is the education of the type that MBCC provides, same with the Railroad Street Youth Project, and that we're working on in Central County, that is centered on especially social emotional learning to build resilience skills, and especially this public health as opposed to a punitive approach. It is already having a measurable impact nationwide. As I'm sure you may have heard from MBCC, we're working on the Prevention Needs Assessments Administration starting in December for all 8th, 10th, and 12th graders. So we are hoping that the national numbers are also reflected locally in the prevention needs assessments. We should be getting that data back hopefully January and February. So it's nice to be able to feel optimistic about those numbers.
Yeah, may I just ask one question? You piqued my interest when you mentioned, because I'm a baby boomer. I might not look it, but no, I am. And what did you just say that your study shows that baby boomers, what did you say you are seeing in that age group?
We unfortunately don't have local data, but nationally we are seeing the highest rates of alcohol misuse among the boomers, and that has been continuing to escalate. So even though these funds are specific to opioids and stimulants, throughout the county we're working with many of our partners, including Berkshire Health Systems, Breen, Volunteers in Medicine, Berkshire Pride, really to put together kind of a comprehensive four-goal approach to reducing alcohol misuse throughout Berkshire County. That being one of our special priority populations of focus. What we're hearing anecdotally, especially from EMS, is a more pronounced issue in southern Berkshire County. So we are hoping that, again, even though these funds would be specific to opioid and stimulant use to prevent overdose, we're hoping we can use this as a foundation in order to be able to seek additional funding to be able to address alcohol misuse and addiction more broadly throughout the county, but especially focusing efforts here in North County as well.
Promise, the last question. What age do you begin categorizing baby boomers?
Ooh, I generally go with before 1955 personally. My parents were both born in 1950. Their alcohol use, I think, is just right. But.
All right, well, thank you very much.
All righty.
Appreciate it.
Anything further from the board? Do you have anything to add?
No, just thank you once again for your time.
All right, thank you, and we'll vote on that agreement in December 4th, I believe our next meeting is.
Perfect. We'll send that your way.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you.
I'm going to officially make a motion to
Yes, ma'am.
table the intermunicipal,
Hold on a
oh,
second.
sorry.
Question?
Oh, I thought there was a public comment.
They should be asked during public comment.
About this.
Yeah, I know, that's the way, all questions, okay.
I'll watch.
I just following the rules. There you go. All right, go ahead, Kristen.
I'm going to make a motion to table the approval of the intermunicipal agreement to form the opioid abatement collaborative.
Which is new business item C. We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ann, any further discussion?
Yeah, then I'd like you to come back up. Could you tell me what that is? I'm not familiar with the terminology. I'd be interested to know what this agreement may encompass.
Again, a lot of acronyms in this one. So the opioid abatement collaborative is the state term for pooled municipal allocations. So the intermunicipal agreement would be to form the state's term of the opioid abatement collaborative, the OAC, which would then sign the memo of agreement with Berkshire Health Systems. So there's the IMA to form the OAC to sign the MOA with the BHS DON funds.
And the IMA would be between the Northern Berkshire municipalities, so I think it's 7 or 8 of the municipalities up here, and the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission as the fiscal host for the opioid,
Okay.
the OAC, whatever OAC stands for.
So if that is signed, what's the end result supposed to come from it?
The OAC as an entity would be around for the duration of the settlements funds. So after the 5 initial planned years of this coordinator position, be kind of up to the community members involved in the coalition, to the municipalities, to Berkshire Health Systems, to decide if they would want to continue funding that. So again, we're hoping that at that point in time we'll have additional funding, or if as a collaborative of the municipalities, if we'd like to steer funds in a different direction for the duration of the settlements funds. Especially that they do kind of trend downwards over the course of the settlements. Most of them are on the front end, hence why we're really focusing our efforts from the beginning on making sure that we are able to expand that so that we're not, relying on these funds in 2035.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, moving back on the agenda to A, new business A, review and approve December 10th, 2024 special town meeting warrant. So what we've done in the past, the board, is that we read the article, and anyone wants to hold it, we'll hold it for discussion. The same thing that happens at town meeting. So if you want to hold an article, just say hold, and we will get back to it, and then we will approve all the other articles to go to the warrant. And then we'll go back and discuss the ones that were held. Very similar to our town meeting agenda. Okay? So I'm going to ask Christine to help me in reading those, proposed bylaws. I have a slight cold here, so I'll call off the article. So we begin with Article 1. For bylaw amendments, replace accessory building or use definition.
To see if the town will vote to amend Section 125-50, word usage and definitions of the Adams zoning bylaws to replace the existing definition for accessory building or use to read as follows, or take any other action in relation thereto. Accessory building or use, the definition, a building or use subordinate or incidental to and located on the same lot with the principal building or use or on an adjacent lot under common ownership.
Anyone want to hold that for further discussion?
I just have a comment, if I may, Chairman. This, once again, is a good example of getting information that's very important in short notice. There's so much to digest in these warrants, and you get something and you got to make votes on them before you really have a chance to view and take a good look at them and see what they represent. I don't know, it gets frustrating. I've asked so many times and, to no avail. So that's just what my comment was.
Okay, anyone else want to hold that article? Okay.
Was that to ask to be held?
No. No. Article 2, replace home occupation bylaw.
To see if the town will vote to amend Section 125-21, home occupations of the Adams zoning bylaws to read as follows, or take any other action in relation thereto. Bear with me, there's a number of things here. A, purpose. It is the intent of this section to allow home businesses within a principal residential or accessory building with reasonable safeguards in all zoning districts. This can involve a vocation, trade, small business, craft, art, or profession where the nature of the home business is limited in size and scope and does not create any significant outward impact which is uncharacteristic of or an additional disturbance to a residential neighborhood in which said property is located. B, home occupations allowable as of right. A home occupation is allowed as of right provided that it is consistent with the below definitions of low-impact, customary, or professional home occupations and is limited to no more than one non-resident employee and the standards list in 125-21, Section D. 1, a customary home occupation is generally considered a low-impact use that includes but is not limited to baking, food preserving, home cooking, dressmaking, tailoring, millinery, similar domestic crafts, and telephone or mail services. 2, a professional home occupation is generally considered low impact and includes, but is not limited to, offices or studios of an accountant, architect, artist, attorney, author, consultant, engineer, financial advisor, musician, real estate broker, physician, dentist, mental health professional, or other similar professions. C, home occupations allowable by special permit. A home occupation may be allowed by special permit provided that it is consistent with the definition of moderate impact home occupations and the standards listed in Section 125-21D. Allowable home occupations under 125-21B. Proposing more than one non-resident employee may also seek approval under this section. 1, a moderate impact home occupation consists of a use that has more than one non-resident employees or whose noise, lighting, odor, traffic, environmental, or other impacts are minor and shall not alter the neighborhood character. These uses include but are not limited to tradesperson, including but not limited to artisan, carpenter, electrician, plumber, janitor, sheet metal worker, upholsterer, small engine repair person, landscaper. Yoga and personal wellness studios, and similar professions. Trades such as servicing, maintenance, or restoration of motor vehicles are expressly prohibited in all residential zones. A special permit for such use is granted by the Special Permit Granting Authority, subject to conditions including but not limited to restriction of hours of operation, maximum floor area, off-street parking, and maximum number of daily customer and/or shipping vehicle trips. Such special permit shall be limited to the applicant and shall expire with the transfer of the property. D, requirements. 1, work done on the lot is confined within a dwelling or secondary accessory structure and is conducted solely by the person or persons occupying the dwelling as a primary residence and one non-resident employee if by right, or more than one if allowed by special permit. 2, the business is clearly incidental and secondary to the use of the premises for residential purposes and is the only home occupation on the lot. 3, there shall be no ongoing retail trade, sales rooms, show windows, or displays. All materials or supplies shall be stored within area allowed for the home occupation. 4, the area used for the home occupation shall not exceed 33% of the grade floor area of the dwelling unit and accessory buildings. 5, does not produce offensive noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odors, heat, lighting, electrical interference, radioactive emission, or environmental pollution. 6, does not utilize exterior storage of material or equipment. 7, does not exhibit any exterior indication of its presence or any variation from residential appearance other than a sign not to exceed 2 square feet in area. 8, parking for non-resident employees shall be provided off-street in conformance with Section 125-13 parking and loading requirements. Parking of commercial vehicles shall conform to Chapter 125, Attachment 1, Use Regulation Schedule. 9, at no time shall clients, visitors, or deliveries be permitted on-site outside of the hours of 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. or where a special permit is required as set by the Special Permit Granting Authority. 10, home occupations are subject to all other local, state, and federal regulations relevant to the home business. Permission of this bylaw to operate a home occupation shall not be construed as an exemption from such regulations. 11, is registered as a business with the town clerk. E, criteria. During consideration of the granting of a special permit for a home occupation, the Special Permit Granting Authority may allow the grade floor area permitted in Section 125-21D1 to be increased to up to 50% or may waive the parking requirements in Section 125-21D8 or Section 125-13. In issuing its decision, the Special Permit Granting Authority shall take into consideration the following criteria: 1, neighborhood context, and 2, size and layout of the building used for the home occupation.
Could you read that again?
I would love to. In double time? Sure, happy to. And I do believe that the background here is that this has gone before the Zoning Board of Appeals, and it is the ZBA that is putting this on the town meeting warrant. It's that,
Well, planning board is the
planning board, sorry.
approving authority. The ZBA has reviewed it though, as well.
ZBA, and then went to planning board, and now it's going here to go to town meeting.
Planning board held a public hearing on Monday and finalized it and approved it then.
Thanks.
And could you come up, because I think the next several you may receive.
Stand by.
Yeah, if I may ask a question through the chair, this verbiage that you were just giving, did a lot of this come from a template?
No.
No? Okay.
We used, Pittsfield's was a template that we did use, or an example that we did use. But planning board workshopped it. We got some help from BRPC on things as well, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone want to hold Article 2? Article 3, Stormwater Management Bylaw.
I hope we don't have to read the entire.
Yeah, I was like, this actually went before the Board of Selectmen at a public meeting where this document was provided, so I don't know if I need to read the 15 pages of the stormwater bylaw, but they are available. But Article 3 does say, to see if the town will vote to amend the code of the Town of Adams by creating a new chapter entitled Chapter 104, Stormwater Management, to read as follows or take any other action in relation thereto. The sections that are listed here, there's a table of contents that includes the general provisions. Article 2, under there is stormwater management and land disturbance. And Article 3, discharges to the municipal separate storm sewer system and to water courses or waters of the Commonwealth.
And just as a note, we are, the items that were just previously discussed are zoning bylaws. This stormwater bylaw will be a general bylaw.
Okay. Anyone from the board would like to hold the Stormwater Management Bylaw?
Yes, I would like to, please.
Okay, Joe. Next, Article 4, Municipal Charges Lien.
To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Law, Chapter 40, Section 58, to impose as a municipal charges lien a lien on real property for costs incurred by the town to perform remediation of stormwater permit violations or to do anything relative thereto.
Anyone on the board would like to hold Article 4?
Through the chair, I would just like, it's short, but I'd like, there's a lot that can be construed from that. Could you?
We can hold it, Joe, it's no problem. We can come back to it.
Okay, yeah, I'll hold it then.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, we'll hold Article 4. All right, now we're getting into the special articles. Article 5, Memorial School redevelopment, authorization of Board of Selectmen to finalize sale and disposition of property and enter into long-term leaseback agreement.
To see if the town will vote, 1, to transfer from the board, commission, or officer currently having care, custody, management, and control of the real property and improvements thereon, being a portion of the former Memorial School property, shown as Lot 2, 224,660 plus or minus square feet, 5,157. Where did you go? Oh, what's AC?
Acres.
Thank you. Acres. On an approved.
It's 5 acres. It's 5 and change.
5 and change acres? Okay. There should be a period instead of a comma?
Oh, it's in the column?
Yeah. All right.
That should be changed.
Thank you. Then I'm glad I asked you.
Yeah.
Okay. The town clerk sees that to, thank you. Okay. Okay. So Memorial School property shown as Lot 2 on an approval not required survey plan prepared by Hill Engineers, Architects, Planners of Adams, Massachusetts, dated October 31st, 2024, known as the plan, as may be amended on file with the town clerk to the Board of Selectmen for purposes of sale and disposition to Michael T. Mackin, sole proprietor, or his nominee, on such terms and conditions as the Board of Selectmen deems to be in the best interest of the town, including granting and accepting temporary or permanent easements over portions thereof. And 2, to authorize the town to enter into a lease or other form of agreement after said sale and disposition for a portion of said property as shown on the plan for general municipal purposes for a term of 20 years, including the town's option to extend said lease with any revisions thereto for 2 additional terms of 10 years each at the Board of Selectmen's discretion, all on such terms and conditions as the Board of Selectmen deems to be in the best interest of the town and as may be necessary or appropriate. And 3, to apply for any grants or other sources of funding as may be available to the town and to receive and expend any such grant funds in connection with this project described herein or take any other action in relation thereto.
Anyone on the board like to hold?
I would just ask one quick question. After this, I'm definitely for this article, but once the agreement's made, it will come back to us for our final, okay?
Correct, Joe.
Okay.
Okay, so no one holds that. Article 6, special tax agreement to support Adams Theater redevelopment.
See if the town will vote pursuant to Chapter 23A, Sections 3E and 3F of the general laws and any other law or authority pertaining thereto, to A, approve a special tax assessment agreement, STA, between the town and Adams Theater LLC and Adams Theater Presents Incorporated in substantially the same form as is on file with the town clerk for the property located at 27 Park Street, Adams, which STA provides for real estate tax exemptions over a 10-year period at the exemption rate set forth therein. And B, authorize the Board of Selectmen to execute the STA and any documents related thereto and to approve its submission to the Massachusetts Economic Assistance Coordinating Council, the EACC, of the STA project and any other applications, documents, or actions related thereto as may be necessary or appropriate to implement the project or take any other action in relation thereto.
Anyone from the board who would like to hold Article 6? As Christine has mentioned, the board has already discussed this and approved the plan to move forward. Article 7, authorize revolving fund spending limits.
To see if the town will vote pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, to establish limitations on expenditures from the revolving funds established by Chapter 50 of the general bylaws entitled Revolving Funds as follows, or take any action in relation thereto. The revolving account is the Greylock Glen Revolving Fund, fiscal year 2025 expenditure limit of $50,000.
Anyone from the board who would like to hold Article 7?
I'd like to hold it, please.
Yep, Joe. Article 8, Greylock Glen Outdoor Center Solar Power Purchase Agreement.
To see if the town will vote to, 1, authorize the select board to enter into a sublease agreement with a solar energy provider for the purposes of constructing, maintaining, and operating a ground-mounted parking lot canopy solar photovoltaic system within the parking area serving the outdoor center building at the Greylock Glen, located at 0 Teal Road, 135 Gould Road, in Adams, Massachusetts, property ID 004/218.000-0005.0, and further, to authorize the select board to enter into a power purchase agreement with a solar energy provider for the energy produced by said system, and to enter into any other agreements as may be necessary in the board's judgment to develop said system in said location. The land that will be subject to the sublease agreement is a portion of the premises leased to the town by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, acting by and through its Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance in consultation with its Department of Conservation and Recreation, and described in that certain master lease dated October 17th, 2014. The sublease agreement, the power purchase agreement, and such other agreements shall be upon such terms and conditions as are in the board's judgment in the best interest of the town, and shall be for a term of up to 25 years. And 2, to authorize the select board to grant any easements necessary to allow the electric utility to install, maintain, operate, repair, reinstall, or replace any utilities required for interconnection to the solar facility, or take any other action in relation thereto.
Anyone from the board who would like to hold Article 8?
Yeah, I'm going to hold it just for a comment.
Yep, Joe. Okay, that's it for special articles. There is a Finance Committee meeting tomorrow evening. Anything that is related to finances will be on the agenda and discussed, and that is tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock right here, I believe. And we have one final citizens petition, Article 9, vote a home rule petition for special legislation to establish a Greylock Glen Commission by vote of the Board of Selectmen.
To see if the town will vote to present to the general court a home rule petition to read substantially as set forth below, and to request its representatives in the general court to introduce legislation seeking a special act to read substantially as set forth below to create, by vote of the Board of Selectmen, a commission to act on behalf of the town as the master tenant and developer of land at the Greylock Glen as designated in the master lease executed between the Commonwealth and the town, and to authorize the general court, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to make constructive changes in perfecting the language of the proposed legislation in order to secure passage or to take any other action related thereto. Section 1 is a number of definitions defining commission, DCAM, DCR, Greylock Glen, master landlord, master lease, master tenant. Section 2, the town of Adams shall create by vote of the Board of Selectmen a commission to act on behalf of the town as the new master tenant of parcels of land at the Greylock Glen as designated in the master lease for purposes of carrying out Chapter 676 of the Acts of 1985. The commission shall enjoy all master tenant powers, rights, responsibilities, duties, interest in, and benefits of the master lease of which the town would have enjoyed relative to the ownership, development, and operation of project activities authorized or contemplated by the master lease. The commission shall be empowered to take all actions as appropriate and as permitted in the master lease for the purposes of implementing this act, including but not limited to entering into contracts, hiring of staff and personnel, consultants and managers, the acquisition and disposition of all forms of property and interest therein. For purposes of implementing this act, the commission shall organize for a non-profit purpose consistent with Section 4 of Chapter 180 of the general laws and lawfully incorporate in the Commonwealth as a 501c3 organization pursuant to said Chapter 180 with the Secretary of the Commonwealth, and shall be approved and recognized as a non-profit organization by the Internal Revenue Service. Funds deposited in the name of the commission may be expended by the treasurer of the commission as authorized by a majority vote of the commission and without further approval, provided that all such funds shall be used solely for purposes of funding the costs associated with project activities occurring within designated parcels of the Greylock Glen. And Section 3, this act shall take effect upon its passage.
Anyone from the board who would like to hold Article 9?
I will hold it.
Christine holds Article 9. And the final one is Article 10, to transact any other business. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, can I have a motion from the board to approve? And when we approve, we're just adding these as warrant articles that will go to town meeting, that's where the discussion and approval will take place. Article 1, Article 2, Article 5, Article 6, and I think that's it, right?
And 10.
And Article 10, other business. Do I have a motion from the board?
So moved.
Moved, or a motion by Christine, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ann. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No, I'm not opposed, I'm not abstaining, but I'm just tepid to say yes, but I'm going to, because I guess I was told that the planning board who oversees this type of thing has given it the okay, but there's quite a bit of complicated language in a lot of these things that I guess I'm not that schooled in.
Unanimous decision. Okay, going back to the articles that were held. The first one is, and Amy, can you please come up? The first one is Article 3, Stormwater Management Bylaw. Joe, held.
Okay, well, the last time that we went over this, I voted no, and I plan on doing so again. The breadth of this warrant article is immense. Repercussions for climate change, which is something that we all should be very concerned about. It makes it difficult for me to look at it and see how there's a synergy where all of this will kind of work together. There's a lot of definitions, there's so many things within the guts of it that I just find it difficult to understand, and once again, it seems to me that this is some type of a template, once again, and you build it, and then you put pieces into it that would present to our town that would make it sound like a viable study. So stormwater runoff is very important for polluting streams, as a lot of times I said, like rock, sand, salt, soils. I've brought that up numerous times with nobody listen, just, it's okay, spend a lot of money and do it. So I'm not gonna belittle it, belabor much more on it, but I'm gonna vote no against it because I think it means too much just to cast a blank vote.
Okay, any other discussion from the board? Ammon, anything? Okay, can I have a motion to approve Article 3, Stormwater Management Bylaw, to be placed on the special town meeting warrant?
So moved.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ann, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Abstentions. So 3 in favor, 1 opposed. Yep. The next one that was held, Article 4, Municipal Charges Lien. Joe?
Okay, that was Article what, 4?
4, yeah.
Okay, let me get to it. Article 3. And may I ask for some help, what page is it on or not? I held it for a reason. Additional prohibited pollutants. Which one is it? I should have wore some glasses.
So
Article
Article
5, okay.
4.
Right above Article 5.
5.
Okay, municipal charges lien, could you give me an explanation of that for the short message that it sends? It purveys to me that there's a lot to it, so can you tell me what GL Chapter 40, subset 5.8 is?
It's Mass General Law relating to municipal charges liens.
Yeah, but it must state something more precise than just that.
I don't have the wording in front of me.
Okay. All right, so, once again, when it comes to the environment and things of that type, I'm gonna always be with the environment, so, once again, I'll cast a no on this, and I know we'll perhaps have the votes needed to put it through.
Would this be something like if, comparing it to when a homeowner has their pipes broken, and that they have to be repaired on their property, that they have to pay it? Is that what you're doing? And if they don't?
Well, all that this is being recommended by town council just to support the stormwater bylaw. My understanding is, we already, the town already expressly permits liens to be placed on property for other purposes. For instance, if somebody's not paying their taxes,
Right.
We can put a lien on the property for repayment of those. My understanding is simply that for every separate purpose, the town needs to expressly authorize liens for that purpose. And so, because we're approving the stormwater bylaw, if there was non-compliance related to, it doesn't, for the average homeowner, it's really not an issue. It's more for if somebody, like for instance, a major new development or something was non-compliant with their stormwater permit, we could put a lien on their property to collect a fine. And so it just needs to be expressly allowed for the purpose of the stormwater bylaw or stormwater lien. Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? Do we have a motion to approve Article 4, Municipal Charges Lien, to be added to the special town warrants for this special town meeting?
I'll make a motion for the municipal charge lien to be added to the town meeting warrant.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christina, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
None? Or, you opposed, Joe?
Yes, I am.
One opposed, no abstentions. Okay. Next is Article 7, authorize revolving fund spending limits, which was held by Joe.
Yeah, as far as the revolving funds, I think there needs to be a look deeper into, I think there's formulas that make revolving funds allowed to be only kept at a certain level within the tax framework of a town or a city. So once you get beyond a certain monetary amount, that's when it should be cut off. That's what I've been trying to find out, and I haven't come to a conclusion about it, but I think there is something in Mass General Law that does not allow a certain amount of money to go over a targeted within the framework of the taxes and within the town of Adams. I haven't expressed it as precisely as I want, but I'm working toward bringing it back with some more clarity.
I think you should. I think you're on the right track. So, okay. Anything else for that one? Hearing none. Do we have a motion to place Article 7 on, as a warrant article for the special town meeting?
I'll make a motion to add the authorization of revolving fund spending limits for the Greylock Glen revolving fund to the special town meeting warrant.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ann, any further discussion?
Now, is this a new revolving fund account?
It was established at town meeting on June 3rd, 2024, and annually the town meeting has to establish the spending limits, and that's what we're doing here.
Okay, so that will be a spending limit on the revolving fund for the Greylock Glen.
Correct. And town meeting also indicated with their vote in June that the allowed expenses would include maintenance and upkeep of the Greylock Glen.
I see that now. I didn't have really time to read all of this stuff. I mean, just got it today. It's difficult.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm abstaining.
And one abstention. Next is Article 8 that was held. Greylock Glen Outdoor Center Solar Power Purchase Agreement. This was also discussed at a previous Select Board's meeting, which was, the agreement was approved, correct? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I just have a comment. When we had the grand opening of the outdoor center, Mr. McClay, who was the architect, came up and spoke, and I don't know if many people caught it, but he had mentioned solar on the building as part of the net zero. And I just, you know, he's the person that built it. And it might have gone over your head, but it really opened my eyes when he said that, you know, that's part of a net zero building. And, you know, I look back now, and I wish I said a little bit more of it. With the reveal of that roof that's south-facing, that will get sun a long period of time throughout the year, because it was less in number, but I think it's greater in prominence than what we're going to get out of these carports. So, coming from the mouth of the architect, who didn't misspeak, who was very fluent in his talk about that, you know, I'm going to vote for it because we have really no choice right now, so I'm not going to hold it or anything. I just wanted to make that comment.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any other comments? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the addition of Article 8 to the warrant articles for the special town meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve Article 8 to go to the town meeting.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None, unanimous decision. And the final warrant article to discuss, the citizens petition. This, Article 9, was held by Christine.
I'm going to be voting no on this. I don't believe this is the right language. I agree that we should have a Glen Commission, but the language that is stated here is over 5 years old, from a time period before we had a building, before we had things in place. I'm actually concerned about some of the language that is listed here in the way that things progressed in the last 5 years. So although I believe that there should be a commission, I don't believe that this is the right language for it.
May I ask, through the chair, what
Go ahead.
parameters or what things are you concerned about language-wise?
I would like to actually talk to the attorney, Jay Saban, to ask my questions.
Okay, fair enough. And are you through?
I am.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up that I want to put it in the fairest manner that I can, and I was very surprised. I don't know the laws all that well, but so a citizen petition can be okayed or not by the Board of Selectmen vote. And then if we voted no, our town meeting members wouldn't get a chance to comment on it?
We've been advised by legal counsel to move the citizens petition forward without any modifications, and that's what the board will do.
Yeah, because, let's face it, I mean, it's hard to put a good face forward on the opening of the educational center. It's very hard to do so. I mean, we've got a state-of-the-art $12 million building, and it's being run by volunteers. I worry about liability insurance when you're letting people that aren't town employees run a town facility. I'm not a lawyer, but it doesn't make sense on how we've lost a lot already, because as soon as that building opened, we should have had a contract signed with a restaurateur, with the Audubon Society, and it's just not happening. I mean, I go by there, I hike a lot, and you go by there's not even hardly any cars there. And so I'm just commenting on it. It's a beautiful building. It can make a difference in this town, but as it stands right now, it is not. And we're going to have continued problems with water because there's not enough water flow going through that building. And we're going to get like we did. We had a high bacteria count. The pipes are too big. There'll be stagnant water within those pipes.
How would the commission support what you're saying? This is about the Greylock Glen Commission.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to put words in a commission that has not been formed yet, but I'm glad to hear that you're in concurrence that a commission should be established.
I do, just not with the language that's presented.
Yeah, well, I'll be watching the language as it moves along.
So all the comments made by a board member, we're going to have our outdoor center director here at our next meeting to answer these type of questions, okay?
I would really appreciate
Okay.
that, thank you.
Yep. All right, anything else under article, the citizens petition? Do we have a motion to approve, to move the citizens petition forward as a warrant article to the special town meeting?
I'll make a motion to move the citizens petition to the town meeting.
Good, motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Joe, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
I have a caveat to that.
One opposed, any abstentions? Okay, so 3 in favor, 1.
No, I'm opposing.
Yeah, 2 opposed.
Yeah, I oppose. I'm with Christine on that. I'd like to see some language carved into it that is more, acceptable at what you believe is the next step forward. And I'd like to see it.
So I think with legal counsel's advice to put it forward to town meeting,
You
you
have
can
to
put
put
it, and you
forward,
can put
yeah.
a note that the Board of Selectmen had a split vote.
Right.
You could just put a notation on it.
So, right, so we have the vote, this will move forward to town meeting, to be discussed at town meeting. because they make the final decision.
Well, may I ask then, do you have enough time within the time frame of our town meeting, which is in a short while, to make the amendments that you feel will make it more comfortable to be voted on?
The chair stated that we were not to make any amendments to it, so I'll be voting no on the town meeting floor as well. And I will be asking if town meeting would give us the next 6 months to put it back in front of everyone at the annual town meeting, and give us time to actually work on language that I think fits for us for in 2025.
Okay, then, I'm going to rescind my vote, and I'm going to vote yes. I rescind my vote, so my vote for no now turns to a yes.
Does the board have any issues with that? The individual made the motion in the second? Okay, so,
I got more clarity from what was just mentioned to me.
so the petition will move forward to the town meeting, special town meeting, as written. Okay? All right, that's it for the warrant articles. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Eamon. It's taken a lot of work on your part to get to this point, so I appreciate it. Okay?
She needs a,
Oh, sure. I understand. We're going to take a 5-minute recess. This Board of Selectmen's meeting is back in session. We are currently still under new business, which is item D, which is a first reading of a public records request policy. This was provided to us by legal counsel. We have been receiving several public requests for records, so it is best that the Board of Selectmen have a policy that the board can follow and that can be flowed down to the rest of the town administrator and to his staff. So if you don't mind, could you please read that, Christine?
sure, so the Public Records Request Policy. The Town of Adams shall fully comply with General Law, Chapter 66, Section 10, also known as the Public Records Law, or known as PRL. The Board of Selectmen finds that the PRL requires responses to public records requests be provided within designated timeframes and that certain records be redacted or withheld from the public. The Board of Selectmen further finds that failure to follow the PRL can expose the town to significant legal penalties, including punitive damages and attorney's fees. See General Law, Chapter 66, Section 10A. The Board of Selectmen also recognizes that General Law, Chapter 66, Section 6A designates the clerk of each city and town as a records access officer to facilitate implementation of the PRL. Accordingly, employees of the Town of Adams shall direct all requests for public records to the town clerk/records access officer. Employees shall not respond to requests for public records directly, but shall instead work with the town clerk to gather responsive documents which shall be produced by the town clerk to the requester.
Board of Selectmen policies, we do have 2 readings. This is the first of 2, so this will be brought up at our December 4th meeting for final passage. Okay. Again, this was provided by legal counsel, which they provide similar to other communities throughout Massachusetts.
So for the second reading, that will be our comment period?
Yeah, you can add additional comments then, yep.
Yep,
And research and things like that.
yep.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the first reading of the public records request policy?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the public records request policy.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, that's unanimous decision. And we have one announcement, the 2025 annual licensing reminder. Do you have anything you'd like to add, Bree?
Yes. So all licenses, all annual licenses that are due for renewal were due in my office by 4 p.m. This past Monday, the 18th. There are a couple that are still outstanding. If you have an outstanding license at this point, you are sort of in the orange zone of danger, so please get those back to me as soon as possible or get in contact with me if there's anything I can do to support any of these businesses and help them through that process. I'm more than happy to do that, but it is necessary that I get those back as soon as possible so that these businesses can continue to operate without any sort of delay or cease in operation.
Okay, thank you. One thing left to
I
do
have a question,
is
if I
that,
could.
in regards to licensing?
Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, Bree, have you heard from, I was walking one day and someone said to me that the building that used to be the ale house, the gentleman that was doing work was, causing dust and things, so I went down to him because a couple people from the, asked me about, could you at least ask the man to, be careful of what he's doing, and in our conversation, he brought something up about his liquor license. And he feels that because it was a special license, that he still holds it. I don't know the legalities of it, but he seemed vehement that he feels like he's not being treated properly, and I'm not saying we're not treating him properly, but I'm just bringing up that caveat, because I don't know how a special license, when it's given out, if it expires or it continues.
So I actually did update this board on this a couple months ago when that property was closed on, and I did state that, the previous owners of the ale house turned over that license in 2020 upon their closure.
Okay.
As such, that license was not renewed. That is no longer an active license. I have been in contact with the owner on several occasions. He has a new license application. We have talked through that. I've also put him in contact with the ABCC, and he is gearing up to apply for a license in the 2025 licensing season, so that won't come in as a renewal. That'll be a new license next year.
Okay, so at this present time, it's too late for him to try to submit for this year?
I wouldn't advise that,
Okay.
because if you apply for a new license now, you will be charged a licensing fee for 2024. He's also not ready to open yet, and he needs an inspection in order to do that.
Yeah.
So if he were to submit right now, he would pay for a license and then have to pay for a brand-new license in a month. And fiscally, that just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, so you brought that to his attention?
I sure
about
did.
Okay, all right,
And
thank you.
he's not ready to serve alcohol yet at this point, so he didn't find that to be intrusive to his business operation plan.
And I think the confusion there is the special legislation means that that license doesn't come back to the town and can go someplace else.
Yep.
That license, when it was surrendered, came back to the town, and it can only go back to that building. And that's been the confusion, I think, with the business owner, that he thinks that he has a license. He just has to apply for it and to make sure that everything is in accordance with the ABCC in order to get it. But we can't actually give that license to any other property but that one.
Right, when it's a
That's
special
what the
right, it
special
has
is.
to go there, and it
Yeah.
can't be brought back, and we have an
Correct.
extra one to pass out if somebody,
Correct.
okay?
Correct.
I get it, all right, thank you.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Oh.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ann, second by Christine. Any further
Joe
discussion?
seconded it.
Oh, Joe seconded it? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. This meeting is adjourned.